Hello, yogis. It's Bethany with Heal Yoga Studio again. And today I wanted to share with you a bedtime yoga practice. So, this is really great because I use it a lot right before bed. It helps me sleep way better. It's just like a little bit of a hip stretch, some hamstrings, kind of loosen up the lower back. And it just really helps promote more restful sleep. So, I'm going to show you a couple ways that you can use the bed to help you stretch. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing that I like to do is just a nice all over body stretch. So you can come to the corner or the edge of your bed. You can also do it this way. So I'll show you both, but I'm going to start here. So it's kind of just like a modified downward dog. So you're going to just press your hands into the edge of the bed with the fingertips spread nice and wide. Take a couple of steps back. And know here that the closer your feet are to the bed, the easier the stretch is going to be. So you can actually find the level that you're comfortable working at. So I'm going to take a couple steps back, and then all I'm going to do is just press my hips back and allow my heart to soften down through my shoulder blades. So kind of almost just squeezing the shoulder blades together gently in the back. Letting my ears come into alignment with my shoulders and just taking my gaze downward. Nice deep stretch through the backs of the legs. If you want to make this more intense, you can step the feet back. And this just provides a nice deep stretch for the hamstrings, the hips, the IT band, all the way up through the shoulders. So let me show you what that looks like right on the edge of the bed. So this way might give you a little bit more support. So you're just going to step back. Again, pressing the hips back and allowing the shoulders to just soften. This is a great one for elongating through the spine. You can, again, step your feet back a little bit more. I don't have a ton of room in here. So once you've done this one, if you're feeling like you want a counter stretch, you can just let your hips come forward, coming up onto your toes. And then you're going to just work those shoulder blades down the spine as you let your hips sink toward the bed, up on the toes. Good. All right, so that is step one. Step two is a just sort of a nice little hip sequence. So what you want to do here is use the bed. Definitely use the bed to help support you. So one option, or the first thing we're going to do, is just bring our foot up onto the bed, and we're going to lean forward into a little bit of a lunge. The most important thing I want you to do here is make sure that this knee is right over this ankle. See how I'm making a nice straight line here? That's what we want to focus on. So if you want to walk your foot forward, maybe your knee just kind of hangs out on the edge of the bed, or if that's feeling really good to you, you can even walk back and let this sits bone come down to the bed. So it's creating more of an elongated posture. You should feel this stretch right through the hip flexor, and that's just this little part right here. So that's what we're stretching, is the hip flexor. Now, where we sit a lot, and especially probably now where we're all teleworking, that place can get really tight. So it's really good to open this up. So what I like to do first is just kind of take a little bit of a stretch back, and then I come forward. So you can have one hand on either side of the knee, or you can bring both hands to the inside of the knee. Just find what feels good for you. And you can take a couple of breaths here. And what you want to focus on here is really just allowing gravity to kind of take over. So you're allowing gravity to just gently pull you down and relax into this. And then you can start to work your way down to your elbows. And you can even let this knee fall out to the side if that feels good to you. Just a nice deep hip opener. You'll take a few breaths here. And you can stay in these poses as long as you like, as long as it feels good to you. Sometimes I like to take this hand to the inside of my knee and just give myself a little twist, looking back over my shoulder. And then the last thing I do here is just straighten out that foot, bringing my hips back. If you have a hard time keeping your hips in alignment for these, you can actually scooch forward and allow your leg or your hip on this side, sorry, this side, to just rest against the bed. And then you'll pull this one back to just make sure that they're same. So you can have a slight bend in this knee, and then we'll just fold forward. Again, very gently. We're not pushing or pulling here. We're just allowing gravity to help us move into this posture. Good. Then the last thing I do here is I just walk my foot out to the side and I get prepared for pigeon pose. So this sits bone right here, you want that to rest on the edge of the bed. If it doesn't come down to the edge of the bed, don't worry. You can use these lovely things that hang out on our beds called pillows. So you can just prop one right underneath there to kind of help you make that gap. So just take a few moments to make yourself comfortable in this pose. We want these toes to be flexed forward. And then your hip on the opposite side, so since this is my left hip, my right hip is going to be nestled right up against the edge of the bed. And again, if you need to, you can come up to your knee. If you've got a pillow under here, just finding a really nice supported posture here. So you'll take a nice deep breath in. And then as you exhale, we're just going to fold through the hips, coming down to maybe the elbows, or maybe we start at the hands. Just finding where feels best for you. You should feel a nice deep stretch right around the outside of the hip here. And then you can even come all the way down if that feels good for you. And you can stay here again as long as you like. And gently come out of that. And that is my bedtime yoga practice. So the most important thing here to remember is just to listen to your body. Know that some days it's going to feel awesome. Some days it might not feel awesome, but just getting in there and seeing what's going on, listening to your body, giving it a break, working it out, helps to promote much more restful sleep and a healthier body. So it's a win-win. Thanks for joining me.